Hello, it's my first video in a while, but I thought it'd be a good time to check in about the Wiggler, which I picked up about 2 years ago, and share some thoughts on it. Now that I've had a lot of chances to ride it, I can tell you what I like about it, what I might not like about it quite so much, and what type of rider it might be good for. So I picked up this deck approximately 2 years ago when it first came out. I have made a couple changes to my setup over the last couple years, but initially I had it set up with a G-Bomb glass drop up front, but it was a race cut prototype, which I had to replace soon after I started riding it, and it's been rock solid stable with the standard glass drop since then. No problems whatsoever. I have a Don't Trip Poppy on the front, and I have currently John Fisher's what's it called, T0 rear 0 degree, I guess I'll call it a truck on the back. It is I've had it like this pretty much since I picked it up from him at Ultra Skate. Prior to that, I had a TTX torsion tail in the back, and what I found with that is that just due to my weight and the length of the deck, I had to use the slightly smaller wheelbase with that truck, or I would bottom out. As you can see, a little bit of wear on the bottom here. I like that with the T0, I can use the entire length of the deck. I don't bottom out. It's a little bit shorter than the TTX overall, so I'm not quite sure how much longer the wheelbase is, but I think it is a smidge longer just because I can move it all the way out to the end of the deck. I do like that. I don't know that it performs better than the TTX, but it performs admirably, especially given how dead simple it is. It's essentially a piece of aluminum. It's been precisely cut, and then it has some crank bushings on the outside, on either side, a plastic spacer, and it doesn't bend or flex the way a torsion tail does. It really just pivots a bit, the axle, with the bushings through the piece of aluminum. I can't really say I notice a difference compared to the TTX, and that may just be to my lack of riding ability or ability to pick up on subtle differences, but it tracks very well like a torsion tail does, and you can certainly use it to help with your pumping, especially when you get going at a pretty good clip. Um, I've had the Don't Trip truck on the front, been no issues with that since I initially set it up. The only other changes I've made, I recently added the Karma wheels, whereas initially I ran speed vents and then McFlys, which are both in the 85 millimeter range. These are 92 millimeters. I've got about 600 miles on them. They are very comfortable. They seem very fast. They hold momentum. They do all the things that a big wheel, I think, does well, but I don't feel any extra weight compared to the McFlys. So I'd say so far I've been a fan of them. Will they suddenly make you much faster and a better rider? I don't think so, but I don't see any particular downsides to them. They're very comfortable. They seem to be wearing well, and they feel fast, and that's honestly as important as anything. So, what do I appreciate about the Wiggler? I like its size. It is big. It's like an aircraft carrier on land. It is so stable because it's got such a long wheelbase, especially when you have a 0 degree rear on the back, which I assume pretty much anyone would do. It really tracks extremely well going in a straight line. You can jump around on it. I am not particularly coordinated. I'm fairly clumsy when I try to push switch. It lets you misstep all the time. It'd be really, really hard to step on the rear wheel accidentally. And it just makes it feel like you're a better rider than you are. And it allows you to be tired and still push and get a little sloppy, and it just doesn't seem to be bothered by that. So I would say it scores a lot of points for being very forgiving of trying new things, whether that's a pushing switch or Mongo, pumping switch. There are things that I would try on this board that I'm not confident enough to do on any other deck. So I would say versatile in terms of how you can propel it. You can push it switch, you can pump it switch, you can paddle it. I ride with a paddle pretty much every time, and I think this is a very good platform to do that with. It is comfortable as well. It has a little bit of flex to the wood, and then just adding a bracket and the long wheelbase, it just lets it kind of dip ever so slightly. It's not like limp noodle flex, but it's a nice sort of comfortable flex. So going over bumps, just riding for long distances at a time, pushing, you just feel a little bit of a give to it in a good way, and decent rebound. There's nothing fancy. There's no carbon fiber in it. It does have a bit of fiberglass, and it's just a good, comfortable, flexible deck. What does it not do well? It doesn't turn. It does not turn well at all. If you're in a city, if you're trying to make 90-degree turns, if you're doing switchbacks, don't expect much out of this deck unless you're just really a great rider, which I am not. I can go in a straight line with this. I can make a gradual curve, like around a track. It's fine for riding, long distances in a straight line. It is not so good for making sharp turns. And it's probably a little bit heavy because it is longer. Do I notice the weight? No, not at all. I think it's actually relatively light for how big it is. So really that's the only downside I can think of, the turning ability. Oh, portability. It's not so easy to travel with this, although it can be done. You just have a lot more real estate to work with. So I think, in my opinion, for my type of riding, which is generally just fitness, long distance riding, getting exercise, going as fast as I comfortably can, but I'm not by any means a speed demon. I think it's a great board. If you want to do something like ultra skate, I would think really hard about how versatile this is and what you'd be giving up by going with either a smaller platform or something maybe a little bit less versatile. The price is probably right. I haven't looked on the website in a while, but for a while it was discounted a bit. I don't know if that's still the case, but I think price, if that is a factor, it's certainly not going to hold you back compared to any other performance deck of this nature. That's it. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have thoughts on your Wiggler and you want to share them, please feel free to drop those below in the comments. And I hope to see you again soon.